Where I am now, this is where I had my encounter with a cat, and what I believe was its young one as well. Now, I've had cameras here since then, apart from the harshest months in winter, because it's so exposed, there's just nothing here. And last year and the year before, when I had my encounter, there was definite indications of movement. I knew its routes coming and going, although when I was here, of course, it wasn't about. Maybe a good thing. But anyway, this year there's been absolutely no indication of it being here or approaching this area. Now, I'm thinking that's because its young one is probably over 2 years old now, so I'd imagine it's off out making its own way in the world. So the mother really doesn't have a reason to be coming this way again, I guess, as this must have been a sort of lay-up point on its route around its territory when it had the young one. And around here at the time when it was here, there was plenty of sheep and lambs, so there might have been a few easy meals for it. Certainly there's plenty of roe deer here anyway. And I've noticed on the cameras I've checked already, the roe deer are back, so that's good. And they hadn't been here for about 7 or 8 months. I was seeing maybe one a month, and that was it. But now they're back. That's good. So maybe it will be tempted to come back yet. But so far, no sign at all. So I'm kind of disappointed. But I'll remain hopeful that maybe it might have another young one at some point in the future, and this might become once again a sort of lie-up point for it on its route round. You never know. And maybe we'll have another encounter. We seem to have a little flurry of activity for a few weeks, and now it's gone all quiet again. Nothing being reported. So it's just back to the old routine of checking cameras and just wandering around, keeping the fingers crossed. There certainly was a little flurry of activity there for a couple of weeks, but now it's all gone quiet. So it's back to just checking trail cams and generally just walking around looking for any sign. So that's a good position there. I'll just put the old sizing stick out in front. There we go, so that's 30 inches at the top off the ground. Okay, so I'll tell you about this cat that I saw. So I was returning from Wick late one evening. It was a Tuesday evening and just on 10:11. I know that because I looked at the clock after I saw it. And as I was coming along the road, there was movement on the verge and it caught my eye. So I looked and I had a good 5 seconds or so as I passed this cat in the verge, and I got a decent look at it. So first thing I noticed was clearly a black body. And then I looked at the tail, because that's the first thing I look at now, because that's going to tell me whether I'm looking at a feral or something larger. So the tail came out like that and curled round. And so I thought, right, that's not a domestic cat, not with that curl on it. And I would have said the body would be a couple of feet, so the tail would be about the same. Another thing I did notice was the head seemed to be quite big. I know it's only like 5 seconds, but in that time, if you can sort of take a snapshot of what you're seeing with your mind and put it in your mind, you can go over it again and again and pick out the detail. So the head looked quite large. So I thought, oh, that's interesting. And then I wondered, I wonder if that could be a young male. But of course, I don't know that, because you need to get a real good close up to be able to tell that. And I would have said I was looking at 3 or 4 inches of the body above the grass. So I went back. That's just a bird. I went back the next night and found the rough spot where it was. So the verge at the road there is flat, and then there's a little dip like that, and then you got the hedge. So in the dip, there's longer grass. about 12 inches. So I thought, okay, that's going to put that cat about 15, 16 inches in height. So it's not insubstantial. So the other thing that caught my attention was, as the headlights shone on the animal, there was a reddish brown tinge in it as well. Now, as cats get older, they lose the black colouring, and you'll start to see reddish brown hair in it. So the pigment is obviously there in the hair from birth. So that would account for that reddish brown tinge, I'd imagine. But it was a very quick sighting. But that 5 seconds or so, it might have been a few more, I don't know, because I was quite shocked to see it. My dad was with me, but he didn't see it. So even though it was that quick, it's still long enough to be able to pick out some details. And I certainly wouldn't go on camera and say I believe I've seen a young black leopard unless I'm certain of it. And if you're doing this, you have to be certain of what you've seen before you make a claim. You really do. Otherwise, you'll get shot to pieces. So that's the story of that cat. And of course, I've bought not a trail camera. I bought a dash cam now, and that'll be used late at night to watch the road as I drive along, and maybe I'll catch something similar again in the future. That's entirely down to luck. And that's that. That's the end of that story and this video.